Hey, it's Jason from Bohemia Bees, and in today's video, I got a helper because we got some interesting top secret stuff inside these boxes. We're going to open them up, unpack them, and show you what they are. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one. So I've got my helper McKenna here at Bohemia Apiary, and she is unpacking an Apimaye ERGO hive. These are hives that we've ordered to be able to enhance our apiary and use the benefits of an Apimaye. We're actually doing a test on this, and we'll talk more about that later in the video. But we wanted to show you when you unpack these, what it comes in and how it happens. And the one thing we love about Apimaye, other than the benefits of the actual product itself, you know, the R value and the various components that come with it. We'll talk about that when we go through it. But the one thing I love about it, and I know that McKenna loves it as well, is that when you get equipment, this is what you get. It's actually assembled already. There's not a lot of pieces that you have to assemble. There's not screws, there's no nails, there's no gluing. Just watch how together this is. With this Apimaye ERGO, this is a 10 frame Apimaye ERGO, and there is a division board. You'll see here, there's actually 2 division boards that you're going to pull out of the side. Okay, so 2 division boards. We'll show you what those look like, but they're going to allow you to adjust and segment the hive. If you're not going to use the full colony, if you only want to have 5 frames, you want to have 2 different colonies in it and separate it, you can do that. There's 2 division boards that come with that. They have the queen excluder, which you also can use. Okay, and then here's the best part. Watch this. It's not in pieces. McKenna's going to lift it right out of the box. Now, they can be a little heavy, but it's more bulky than heavy. Would you agree, McKenna?
Yeah. Definitely.
Just more bulky. So there you go. And look, no other pieces and parts. We can take this box and toss it. So over here, we're stacking them up. But let's take a look. McKenna, bring that back over here. Let's take a look at what it looks like inside. So she's going to set it back over here, and we're going to take a look inside one of these hives. So if you look at it from the front, you'll see it's got the entrance reducer right here that you can open and close it. You can reduce the entrance if you'd like. It's got the separate entrance up here that allows you to adjust it as well. The good news is if you put the division boards in between, you can have 2 separate hives, as we talked about. There's latches on the sides to keep them closed down and tight. Okay, so you can actually, you saw when she picked it up, the bottom board, the hive body, and the top are all combined together, which is fantastic. So go ahead and pull that lid off. First thing you're going to notice is the feeders. These are their dual style feeders, which allow you to feed 2 separate colonies or 1 big colony. Allows you to put fondant in, allows you to lift it up, pour syrup. So those are great feeders that will stay on the hive. Gives good air ventilation through here as well. Yep, and their air ventilation top, these vents at the top allow the airflow to come through and keep the hive cool. The R value on these poly hives are amazing. They do also give you frame spacers. So these frame spacers are going to allow you to put the exact amount of frames in here to keep them organized, and you'll put them on. Now, that's a pollen trap down here. You can open and close this. So if you open it, yep, if you take it in, you leave it in, the bees will come in the front, right? And they'll when they come through it, they'll actually drop pollen into a tray in the bottom. So if you come out the back, take that out, okay? And then they'll drop the pollen and collect that in the pollen tray in the bottom, okay? So you can see how that works, okay? Perfect. So this hive is already assembled. There's not a lot to it. All the drawers, you can actually take the pollen trap out and just use the bottom board. It's all latched together. For now, we're just packing them and stacking them at this point, just trying to get them ready to go out and expand our colonies. But as you can see, that's really the Apimaye ERGO. It's very durable. That's your queen excluder. We're not going to put that on there. We'll leave that off for now. But we'll latch the lid and stack them up and move on. So just stay with us. We're going to go ahead and show you a couple other Apimaye products and what we're using with them. McKenna's just kind of putting this back together and getting it stacked up. But we wanted to share that with you. It's actually the bottom latch because the top latch allows you to latch another hive.
Latch another hive.
Or another hive body, I guess. So if you put a super on top, then you can attach it to that and pull it tight as well because we have the supers. The supers are back there. We got to go through them eventually.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and stack this one up and keep moving. Okay, so we've opened up a couple of the Apimaye ERGO deeps. You see there's one down here. We're going to open up one of the honey supers, the medium supers, just so we can look what that looks like as well. So let's take a look. Okay, they come again assembled, so you're not nailing, you're not gluing, which is fantastic, right? They don't come with frames, so you're going to need frames. But if you look in the box, pull that out, McKenna. So you can take a look at what it looks like. Set it over here. They do come with the spacers, much like the deep, so you can use them on the sides to keep your spacing correct. Put those on. We're going to set them to the side for now, but we're going to put this on top of the deep to show you what that looks like. So, nope. Let's unlock the deep. We're going to go ahead and unlock the deep. No, unlock it. Set that to the side. Yep. You're going to pull the feeders off, set the lid down, flip it upside down. So you can set the feeders on it. Okay. Now, if you're going to have a honey super on, we all know that a honey super, you don't want to have syrup. So go ahead and set that on there. It should slide and lock right onto place. Look at that. It slides right on. Now, you're going to connect on the bottom one. Nope, the bottom one. There you go. Right there. Oh, lift it up. Oh, maybe it is the top one. Sorry. Yep. When you're connecting the super. There you go. We'll do the other side. Okay. And then, of course, you can put your lid back on. We're not going to put the feed. We have to put the feeders on, but there's going to be no syrup in them. So you remember when you're producing honey, you don't want to put syrup in those feeders. So we're going to go and set them on. Oh, just basically fits over it like that, just like that, centered. There you go. Put the other one on. Put your lid on. There you go. And you're going to lock it. See how easy that is? And they're all locked together so that the lids are not flying off in a windstorm. There's no predators and things that are knocking it over. If you have bears, if you're in like PA or Western Maryland or somewhere else in this country that has bears, I can imagine that these are fairly durable. I'm not talking to anyone in the Apimaye community, but I don't know that a bear can get in that unless they're pretty smart. So, all right, well, there you can see that's a super on top of a deep. We're going to continue to unpack, and then we'll get into it a little bit further. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to take this 7-frame nuke. This is an Apimaye equipment. It's a polymer hive, as we talked about. Now that you've seen we unpacked our full-size equipment, we're going to transfer this 7-frame nuke into the 10-frame so they can continue to grow, and then eventually be able to super these up. These Apimayes that you see on this cart, these 18 colonies, they're actually on a pollination cart. So this is not a traditional hive stand. This is not a 4-way pallet. This is not what you would typically see in beekeeping. This is what I use for sideline pollination. I'm not at the scale to be able to use pollination at the commercial scale level, so I typically don't run it on 4-ways. I do have some hives sitting on 4-ways, but I do love these pollination carts. We'll do a separate video about the pollination process. I'll put a link in the description below when we talk about pollination in general and sideliner pollination. I did that video a little bit earlier, or late last year, I guess it was. But I'll put a link in the description below so you can see that. This is just another technique for beekeepers to be able to bring and move their hives very easily, or a large amount of hives or a medium amount of hives in an easier manner. So that's what this cart is for. But enough about the cart, let's talk about the Apimaye equipment. The Apimaye equipment, as you saw in the prior part of the video, we talked about the unboxing of this 10-frame and how it looks when you receive it. I really like the quality of the product. I love the concept of the R value in the polymer and that kind of open cavity that sits in the filled cavity. It's actually a foam inside that cavity to give you the R value to help keep the bees have less work to be able to heat and cool their hive. It keeps it cool and it keeps it warm in the winter. So that's one thing I do like about the Apimaye. I also like the fact that you don't have to worry about painting it. It comes in either a white or a tan like you see here. the different color dials if you're going to be using it for mating purposes or for different entrance purposes. We're transitioning this single hive into this 10 frame because they're busting at the seams. You'll see in just a minute. So we're going to make sure that we can do that. So let's take a look and see how we do that. Now the tops of these hives typically have a hive feeder on top. So we don't use the hive feeder this time of year. We're still coming out of a flow. So we're gonna leave them empty, but when we get into a dearth, we'll use those as a tool to help feed your bees. You see this hive is really packed. They got a lot of honey on that top. Good propolis. All right, so I'm going to take this hive and I'm going to set it on the ground next to it. The one thing I do like about the Apimaye is I can pick the hive up with the handles on the side and set it down. We're going to take our 10 frame, set it right in its place. I'm going to open my doors up so the bees will start to come back and orient into this location. Unlock our lid, set it to the side. Here's our larger feeders that you see. Okay. The one thing you want to check with these feeders as you install it is that the feeder side closes the opening that you see here. There's an opening for feed and for dry. And so I always like to make sure they're closed when you receive it, because you see this side was not, and the bees could get up inside here and build comb. So make sure you flip those around, set those to the side. They come with spacers if you choose to use them. They go on the sides to help you kind of align your frames. We don't typically use the spacers, so we set them to the side. In this, you also have a pollen trap. Now, we're not going to open the pollen trap. We're going to leave it closed for now because we need them to get established in here. And we'll come back and open it at another point. For now, I want to make sure that the bees can come and go, so I'm not going to put them to have to come through the pollen trap. So you take that out, that slide in the back. If you did, then they'd have to come through those small holes, and that'll drop pollen down into the tray. I just want them to use the entrance as they have here on the bottom to get used to it. Let's grab our first frame. Working on the outside is typically the right thing to do with a beehive in most cases, because that's usually your resources, your honey and your pollen. You have somewhat of a less of a chance of rolling your queen or rolling bees, but occasionally you get the queen on that outside frame, so you still got to be very careful. You can see that's full of resources on that outside frame. Definitely room to expand. I'm going to actually put this frame on the outside, and then I'm going to take the next frame, take a look at it, see what I have. And now I've got room to move. So I can pull that frame out. And you see a good solid piece of brood there. Good capped brood. Good capped brood there as well. I'm glancing for my queen. I want to make sure I get her. Good, look at that frame of brood. You can see that, that's beautiful. Nice solid frame of brood. Glad I'm expanding this colony. I want to look at it to make sure I'm not making any swarm cells. And I don't see any little cup down here. Now I'm going to put these back in a similar order, just so that they, the brood's nest stays intact. Lots of eggs on this frame. capped on that frame. There's our queen. You can see her right there running around. And we'll take this opportunity to mark her as well. So I set my frame for the hive keeping to pay attention to where my queen's at so she doesn't run back underneath. I get my trusty marking pen out and then put a little mark on her. There we go. And now our queen's marked. She's good looking. Now, if we remember, we have 7 frames, so we need to make sure that we put 3 more back in here. Good solid frame of brood again. Good frame of honey. This is going to be a solid frame of honey on the outside. Oh, dropped my frame in there. Oh, that's heavy. Look at that solid, fully capped frame of honey. All right, so I got my 4 frames of brood in the middle. Lots of amounts of brood. Solid frames. We're going to put some undrawn foundation in here in between so that they'll draw that out and continue to build the brood's nest as well as store honey stores. We're going into a dearth. They got plenty of honey stores in here. I'm not worried about their honey stores. I'm not going to feed just yet, mainly because I still have honey supers on across my apiary, and I don't like to put feed out or a heavy amount of feed in a lot of colonies just because if they ever get robbed out, then they're taking syrup from another colony and putting it in my honey stores of the honey that I sell. So I try to keep that as pure as possible, and that's why I typically do that. Just my practice. It's not a requirement, but I do think that trying to keep your honey unadulterated is the best way to be in a sustainable apiary. Let's go and put some frames inside here, get these girls closed up. I got a bunch of bees in the box, so I'm going to go ahead and dump them in. I'll show you how I do that. I know my queen's inside, so I'm not worried about that. But if you take this box and give it a good tap twice, and then flip it over, you can dump those bees in there. Now you can take this box, set it on the ground in front, and then they'll fly up. Now it's a flurry of bees, but they're just disoriented, and you'll watch how they'll rush in that entrance. There's other bees that are fanning along here. They're saying this is where you need to go, and that's how they know how to get in there. All right, let's get those frames. All right. For our brood nest, we typically like to use the black foundation that's heavy wax. Now this is Premier Foundation and Premier Frames. This is their product, their top-end product that they typically sell. We really like this quality of how Premier has built their foundation and their frames, really their boxes as well, a lot of their equipment. We love that Premier equipment. It works real well as a partnership with the Apimaye hives. So whether you're using the plastic frames that Apimaye provides or sells you with your equipment, you can use that Premier frame as well, or foundation, or you can use the Premier frame, wooden frame. They fit just both the same. Sliding that frame, and really something called checkerboarding is what we do to help encourage them to clean and draw out that foundation. Okay, we've got all 7 hives or all 10 frames in there. We're letting the bees just kind of get settled in. You know, they've been trying to flurry around. It's almost going to look like a swarm a little bit. That's mainly just because they're just disoriented. I shook those bees up. They went up in the air. They kind of went around. So they're going to take a few minutes to just orient against this hive. My queen's in here. I do know that. There's no swarm cells. We've got good brood's nest in here, a larva in all stages, eggs, cap brood, you know, anything in between. Plus, we got plenty of resources in this hive. This is going to be a great colony to go through winter and test that Apimaye product and its R value keeping that heat in the wintertime and keeping it cool in the summertime. Let's go ahead and close these up with the feeders on top. They just sit right on top of that. They also make a, as you saw in the earlier part of the video, a queen excluder that goes right over top of this that you can also use in order to provide that super when you put the super on top. We'll show that in another video when we super these up. We're just going to get them installed from the 7 frame to the 10 frame. Once you got those lids on, you want to close it up. Trying to keep as many bees out of this open area up here as possible. Now we'll go ahead and lock it tight. And there you go. We've got all the entrances, making sure that they are set up where they want it to be. We have the tray in the bottom currently, and that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and open this center entrance up too, just to give them another entrance to come and go and build into. As I said before, I really like the Apimaye equipment. I've been very happy with the quality of the product upon delivery. A lot of times as a beekeeper, you order a hive kit online. You kind of don't know what you're getting completely if you're a new beekeeper. So there's a lot of pieces and parts that kind of are confusing to you. Apimaye sort of makes that easy. You saw in the earlier part of the video how when my daughter and I were unpacking these boxes, it literally comes assembled, ready to go to put bees in. So that's really why I love the Apimaye equipment, not only for its R value and its other benefits and its gadgets and things that really make them unique. You can move these hives easily because they're locked together. The components come and they work together, and it also does work with some regular woodenware. They have the bottom board can come apart, but they also sell a separate bottom board if you choose to keep your woodenware as you have before. You don't have to use this polymer hive body. But everything comes very easy to use. Everything comes out of the box, turnkey for you to start to keep bees. Let's get working down the line to replace these 7 frames and move them into 10 frames. We'll continue to do that. Stay tuned, watch as we do that. Okay, folks, so it took a couple days for us to go through these and find out which ones we wanted to increase or move up to this 10 frame Apimaye. You can see there's still approximately about 6 of the nukes there. They weren't quite ready yet. We wanted to let them build out a little bit more, or they were queenless, so we didn't want to give them too much space and them get honey bound inside of a 10 frame and work on it. So we just basically left them in the nuke. We'll probably switch them out in the next day or two. So the full trailer will have all of the 10 frame equipment now on it, migrated from the 7 frame. So we're now complete on our next phase of our project with our pollination cart with the Apimaye equipment. Hopefully this has given you some information on this type of equipment. We're hoping to do some continued data surveying on the growth of these populations, how quickly they grow, how well they maintain through normally a nectar flow, all the way through a dearth, and on pollination. So our hope is that we can get these other 6 in the next day or so, completely switched over to the 10 frame, and then we're going to move this cart out on a pollination contract, probably likely watermelons or something along those lines. Not quite sure yet until we can finalize the contract. That's really another video and another discussion about small-scale pollination. We have some work and some editing to do on that video. So, hit the subscribe button, follow along. You'll see more information about the projects we do here at Bohemia Apiary, including this pollination cart with the Apimaye equipment. We really feel confident that these give the right R value, the right adjustment. The fact that they're one contained unit can help you move them around very easily when you go into a pollination type arrangement. And they're just overall quality made. So we really like them in the versatility, especially with the addition of the pollen trap approach in the 10 frames. That's really cool. Allows us to flip any one of these hives at any point in time to a pollen trap and turn it off if we need to. It helps kind of gather some. So if you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, put a comment below if you have Apimaye equipment, if you like them as well, and we'll continue to put out more content around this project specifically, and how we continue with Apimaye and the pollination test that we're doing. So thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate everyone's support over the last several years as we grow. We can't do it without you, so we do appreciate it. We are humbled by all the support. Thanks again. Here at Bohemia Apiary, well, you know the line, you know the thing. Beekeeping is definitely more than a hobby. It's an obsession. Thanks for watching, everyone.